You didn't find your way here by wandering. Something deeper than instinct, something stronger than coincidence, pulled you into this exact moment, at this exact second. And I need you to understand that fully before we go any further. The very breakthrough you collapsed on your knees begging for. The one you whispered about in the hollow silence of 3 in the morning, when the walls felt like they were closing in, and no one else was awake to witness your pain. That miracle was already released the moment you asked. Your name is already woven into it. Your specific story is already stitched onto it. And the reason you are here right now, listening to these very words, is because something in the heavens wanted you to finally hear the truth directly, not through rumor, not through assumption, but straight from the source. So don't move. Don't scroll away. Don't let distraction pull you from this moment, because what is about to be said has the power to dismantle every wall of doubt that has been quietly suffocating your faith for far too long. I know what you've been living with. Not a surface-level, general kind of knowing, but an intimate, detailed, precise awareness of every layer of what you've been carrying. Every single time you cried and quickly wiped your face so no one would ask questions, I was watching. Every prayer that felt like it dissolved into an empty ceiling. Every moment your voice cracked and all you could form was a whisper of my name. Every restless night when sleep abandoned you and all you had was the dark and your thoughts. I was present in every single one of them. I was not somewhere distant, unmoved, scrolling past your pain. I was there, leaning in, fully attentive, completely aware. And I am telling you today with a certainty that cannot be shaken that the season of your waiting is turning. What has felt impossibly out of reach is far closer than the story you've been telling yourself. I understand the nights you've spent quietly questioning whether your prayers were even reaching anywhere real, whether the silence you kept receiving was a soft form of rejection, whether your faith had grown too inconsistent, too riddled with doubt to deserve an answer. Let me speak to that directly right now. Every single prayer made it. Not most of them, all of them. Every barely formed thought that reached toward me. Every sigh that carried your name at the end of it. Not one restless night went unrecorded. Not one moment where the weight you were carrying nearly broke you slipped past my awareness. I have seen the full magnitude of what you've been holding, and I want you to know clearly, I am not unmoved by it. There are no human words that can hold the depth of what you mean to me. If that truth is landing somewhere inside you right now, just say it quietly to yourself, I believe. Because here is something you need to release yourself from. The quality of your miracle has nothing to do with how perfectly you've prayed, how many days you've shown up consistently, how long you've sat in stillness seeking my presence. It was never about your performance record. My grace, the thing that drives everything I do toward you, is larger than every shortcoming you've ever compiled. Long before you even knew to look for me, my mercy had already found you. Before your lips ever formed my name for the first time, I had already written your name into my plans. You have always been mine. You have been mine through every failure, every season of distance, every dark stretch where it felt like you were completely alone. Nothing, and I mean not one thing, the enemy throws at you, not shame, not distance, not the wreckage of your past choices, has the authority to remove you from my hands. The enemy has been working very hard to convince you otherwise. He has whispered that you've drifted too far, that the gap between where you are and where you need to be is too wide to cross, that whatever is broken inside you is beyond the reach of repair. But here is what you need to understand about every single one of those whispers. He was lying. He lies with extraordinary consistency because he is deeply aware of one truth that he does not want you to discover. The moment you fully grasp what my grace actually means, the moment that reality stops being something you've heard and starts being something you know in your bones, his influence over the direction of your life ends. You've been carrying things that were never designed to be held by human hands alone. I've watched you hold yourself together with pure willpower when every instinct was telling you to fall apart. The weight on your chest, the mental gymnastics of trying to keep all the pieces from scattering, the sheer exhaustion of continuing to move forward when forward felt like a direction that no longer existed. You showed up when it made no logical sense to show up. You stood when falling would have been the easier choice. That took a kind of strength that deserves to be honored. But now, I need you to hear me on this. You were never supposed to carry it alone. You were never designed to white-knuckle your way through this life independent of me. My invitation to you has always been this: walk alongside me. Let me absorb the weight that your shoulders were not built to sustain. When your reserves hit empty, that is precisely when my strength begins. Your endurance has a ceiling. Mine doesn't. Your resources eventually bottom out. Mine don't operate on that economy. Your comprehension hits a wall. Mine is boundless. And I want to give you everything I have, freely and completely, because that is what a father does for a child he genuinely loves without reservation. Think back to what it felt like to be a child afraid of the dark. That specific terror, that sudden cold feeling of being small and unprotected. Now remember what happened when you ran to someone you trusted, and they wrapped their arms around you. In an instant, the darkness lost its authority. That is me, right now. My arms have not crossed. My posture toward you has not stiffened. It doesn't matter how long it's been since you felt close to me. It doesn't matter what path you've been walking or what choices you've made along the way. My arms are open, and they have been open every single morning waiting for you. My love for you was never constructed on the foundation of your consistency. It was never something you earned through right behavior or forfeited through wrong choices. It simply is. It has always simply been, before your first breath, on your hardest days, through your worst seasons. In every moment you turned and walked in the opposite direction. That love moved quietly behind you, patiently, without resentment, waiting for the moment you turned back around. If those words are reaching something real inside you right now, say it out loud. I believe this today. Now let me tell you something about this particular chapter you're in, because I need you to see it accurately. This is not where your story ends, not even remotely. I am the God of completely fresh beginnings. I am the one who takes what the enemy designed to destroy you and transforms it into the most undeniable testimony anyone in your generation has ever witnessed. I take shattered pieces and produce something more breathtaking than what the original version ever could have been. Not a patched-up repair job. Something entirely new and entirely better. Right now, when you look at your life, you're examining the current state of things. I am looking at the full trajectory of what your life is becoming. Those two views are dramatically different from each other. Every delay you have lived through was never a signal that I had turned away. I was working in every single one of them. Behind what you could see, I was orchestrating details, arranging people, aligning timing. The days you felt like you were stagnant, like nothing was moving, were the days I was doing some of the most precise work of your entire story. Not a single day of that waiting was wasted. Not one tear hit the ground without purpose. Not one painful night passed without being woven into the larger design. I don't waste anything. I never have. I have taken every season you've walked through, including the brutal ones, especially the brutal ones, and I have been braiding them into something that, when you finally see the full picture, will take your breath away. Now I need you to stop measuring my ability against the size of the problem you're facing. What looks immovable to you is simply not immovable to me. What looks like a solid wall with no exit is, from my perspective, a wall with a door already cut through it. I am the God who opened a sea when there was nowhere left to go. I am the God who called the dead back to life. I am the God who equipped a young boy with a sling, a stone, and an unshakable certainty, and sent him out to defeat the enemy that an entire trained army had decided was too large to fight. That same God, that exact God, is completely, actively, and personally at work in your situation right now. Think about Joseph, sold by his own blood, falsely accused, locked in a prison for years for something he never did. Every door closed, every timeline shattered. Every day in that cell felt like the final sentence of the story. But it wasn't the sentence. It was the preparation. Every injustice was building the character of a man who would one day stand before kings. What his enemies designed to be his destruction became the very road that led him to his destiny. I saw it from the moment it began. He could not see it from inside the prison walls. I am doing that same thing with you. Every closed door directed you toward the right one. Every person who exited your life created the space for what is actually coming. Every no that crushed you was a shield between you and the thing that would have derailed everything I had already planned. The design was never visible from where you were standing, but I have been watching it unfold from the very beginning, and the design is more beautiful than anything you could currently imagine. Now let me speak about time, because I know this is where the test has been sharpest for you. The gap between the asking and the receiving. You prayed with everything you had, and then you listened. The next day, you watched for the answer. Weeks passed, then months, maybe years. And somewhere in the accumulation of silence, you began to wonder if waiting itself was the answer, if the absence of response was actually a response. Let me be completely direct with you. No has never been the answer to what your heart has been genuinely seeking in me. I never make you wait because you've slipped my mind. I make you wait because I am simultaneously preparing you and preparing what I'm about to release toward you. The version of you that this process has been building is actually required for what you're about to step into. If I had given it to you in the moment you first asked, you would not have had the capacity to carry it, steward it, or experience the fullness of it. The waiting expanded your capacity. The difficulty gave you dimensions that comfort could never have produced. The fire refined what was already inside you and made it unbreakable. And from that, something priceless was forged. I think in generations. My plans extend far beyond the borders of your individual life. I'm not simply solving your immediate circumstances. I am building a foundation that your children and their children and the generations that follow them will stand on. I take the time I take because what I build is built to last forever, not just through next Tuesday. And here is what I need you to receive right now. The preparation season is finishing. Everything I have been quietly arranging in hidden spaces is ready to step into the open. This is your moment, not eventually, not after one more requirement is met. Now, in this breath, in this very act of surrender happening inside you as you receive these words, there is something else the enemy has been hiding from you, something about the nature of real faith. He has been working to convince you that faith is passive, that it's just enduring, just waiting for something outside yourself to change before you respond. But that is not what genuine faith looks like. Genuine faith is active. It moves. It speaks. It reaches out and takes hold of what already belongs to it. True faith does not approach heaven as a beggar. True faith walks like a child who has read the will and knows exactly what has been left to them. It says, "This is mine because my Father said so," and His word doesn't expire. That kind of confidence is what unlocks what has been sealed. That kind of trust does not accept a permanent closed door, because it understands that my word is the final authority in every situation. I want that kind of faith to come alive in you. I want you to stop narrating your problems as if they have the final vote on your future. They do not have the final vote. I do. And over your life, from the very beginning, I have been speaking about wholeness, abundance, purpose, and a future that exceeds what your current circumstances can even suggest. Begin speaking those things. Not because speaking them makes them true, they are already true, but because your words shape the interior atmosphere you live in. What you magnify determines what you perceive. What you rehearse determines what you feel is possible. Enlarge me in your inner world until fear simply runs out of room to exist, until doubt can't find a corner to settle into. I am larger than every problem stacked together. I am stronger than every force that has been working against your progress. Now let me tell you something directly about who I actually am. Because the enemy has spent a significant amount of time painting a distorted portrait of me in your mind, and I want to correct it. He has shown you a God who watches from a distance with crossed arms, more frequently disappointed than delighted, whose affection has fine print and conditions, and a long list of requirements you must continuously satisfy to remain in good standing. That portrait is a lie from beginning to end. I am not a judge scanning your file for reasons to rule against you. I am your Father, one who sees you completely, knows you thoroughly, and loves you without conditions, without ceiling, without end. When you fail, my love doesn't diminish. When you doubt, it doesn't cool. When you arrive at the very worst version of yourself, it does not back away. It remains exactly what it has always been, constant, devoted, and completely unshakable, because it is not based on what you do. It is based on who I am. I am the same yesterday, today, and in every tomorrow you will ever face. My word over your life has not expired, been revised,